Imagine walking into a casino and finding a special table. To sit down, you need to bet your time, your emotional energy, your mental clarity, and a significant portion of your future resources. The dealer tells you that historically, most players walk away exhausted, depleted, and questioning why they sat down in the first place. Would you play that game? Of course not. Yet that's exactly what modern dating has started to feel like for a growing number of ambitious people. Not because connection is impossible, because the entire system has become transactional, exhausting, and fundamentally misaligned with how meaningful relationships actually form. And the smartest people, they're not playing anymore. Not forever, not bitterly, strategically. They're taking what I call the strategic pause. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn isn't about giving up on connection. It's about choosing yourself first so powerfully that you only invite people into your life who genuinely add to it. Here's what happened to modern dating. It stopped being about connection and started being about credentials for everyone involved. Both sides showing up with checklists. Both sides treating the other like an application to review rather than a human to know. The irony is that everyone feels inadequate in this system. You're constantly being measured against an impossible standard while simultaneously measuring others against your own impossible standard. It's exhausting for everyone. Julia Cameron, who wrote The Artist's Way, talks about creative depletion. She observed that artists in the wrong relationships produced less, felt less inspired, and slowly lost their creative spark. Not because relationships are bad, because the wrong ones drain the exact energy you need to build your life. And modern dating has become an energy drain for people who could be using that energy to build something extraordinary. Think about the actual math here. Average person spends 10 hours weekly on dating apps, swiping, messaging, planning, going on dates that feel like interviews. That's 520 hours per year. That's enough time to learn a new language to conversational fluency, enough time to build a legitimate side business, enough time to write a book or complete a meaningful creative project. The emotional energy? Impossible to quantify, but absolutely massive. Think about the mental space occupied by dating app notifications, the anxiety before dates, the analysis after dates, the wondering why they didn't text back, the crafting of the perfect message. That's cognitive bandwidth you could be using to solve meaningful problems. What if that energy went somewhere else? Octavia Butler, who became one of science fiction's most influential writers, spent her 20s and 30s largely alone. Not because she couldn't date, because she was building something that required her full energy and attention. She worked during the day, wrote at night, and protected her creative energy with absolute discipline. She wasn't lonely, she was focused. And here's what nobody tells you about that period of strategic solitude. It's not empty. It's full of growth you can't experience while emotionally managing someone else's expectations. Full of clarity you can't access while trying to fit yourself into someone's checklist. Full of becoming the person you actually want to be instead of performing the person you think someone else wants. The transactional trap works both ways. Everyone's exhausted. Everyone feels like they're not enough. Everyone's performing instead of connecting. And the people who step away aren't failing. They're refusing to participate in a system that doesn't work. The strategic pause isn't giving up. It's a deliberate redirection of energy from external validation to internal development. Oprah Winfrey spent years intensely focused on her career before any serious relationship. She's talked openly about how that period of solitude and work focus created the foundation for everything that followed. In interviews, she's described how those years of just her and her work allowed her to develop the confidence and clarity that later defined her entire career. Not because she was avoiding connection, because she was building something that required protection and focus. Here's what happens during a strategic pause. Transformation 1. Your standards become real instead of theoretical. When you're not desperately seeking external validation, You actually figure out what you value, not what you think you should value, not what society says you should want, what you actually need to thrive. You discover that maybe you don't actually care about half the things on your mental checklist. Maybe what matters is how someone makes you feel, how they handle conflict, whether they're genuinely curious about the world. Those insights only emerge when you stop performing and start being. Transformation 2. Your capacity explodes. Brené Brown researched this extensively. She found that people who develop strong self-worth in solitude bring entirely different energy to relationships. They don't need the relationship, they choose it. That distinction changes everything about the dynamic. When you need someone, you tolerate behavior you shouldn't. You compromise on things that matter. You shrink yourself to fit. When you choose someone from a place of wholeness, you maintain yourself while connecting. You enhance each other rather than completing each other. And during the strategic pause, you build that wholeness. You develop skills that make you genuinely valuable in the marketplace. You build financial stability that creates options. You cultivate physical health that generates sustainable energy. Transformation 3. You build actual peace, not the performance of peace. Real internal stability that doesn't depend on someone else's validation or presence. And peace is magnetic. People who've done their own work recognize peace in others. They're drawn to it because it's rare and valuable. The irony is that the moment you stop needing connection, you become someone worth connecting with. Let's talk about return on investment, because this isn't just feel-good philosophy. This is practical mathematics. Average person redirecting dating energy to self-investment. 10 hours weekly previously spent on dating apps and exhausting dates. Now invested in Category 1. Skills that compound income. That's 520 hours yearly learning high-value capabilities. Pick one skill that increases your market value. Copywriting, video editing, sales, public speaking, data analysis, project management. 520 focused hours takes you from beginner to legitimately competent. That competence translates directly to income, freelance opportunities, promotions, career pivots, side businesses. Conservative estimate, $10,000 to $30,000 additional annual income within 18 months. Category 2, health that compounds energy. 520 hours yearly into consistent training, recovery, and nutrition optimization. That's not sporadic gym trips when you feel guilty. That's systematic development. 4 training sessions weekly, daily walks, consistent sleep, intentional nutrition. The result? Complete body recomposition and energy baseline shift. You wake up with more energy than you had at 20. You have sustained focus throughout the day. You recover faster from everything. That energy multiplies everything else you do. Category 3, projects that compound fulfillment. 520 hours yearly into building something that matters to you. Not consuming content about building, actually building. Lin-Manuel Miranda spent 7 years writing Hamilton, largely in creative solitude. His wife supported it, but the actual work required him to disappear into it completely. 7 years of early mornings, late nights, and protected creative time. Not because he was avoiding life, because creating something extraordinary requires that level of protected focus. In your 520 hours, you could write and publish a book, launch a meaningful side business, create a body of artistic work, build a portfolio that changes your career trajectory. Category 4, friendships that compound support. This seems counterintuitive in a discussion about solitude, but strategic pause doesn't mean isolation. It means being selective about where your relational energy goes. Instead of scattered dating energy across dozens of disappointing interactions, you invest in deep friendships. Weekly dinners with people who actually know you. Long conversations that leave you energized rather than drained. Friendships where you can be completely yourself. Those connections sustain you in ways transactional dating never could. Here's what that ROI looks like after 18 months. Financial. Significantly higher income from developed skills. Established side income stream. Actual savings and investments. Physical. transformed body composition, sustainable energy, genuine physical confidence, creative, completed meaningful projects, built portfolio, developed craft, social, deep friendships that actually support, reduced social anxiety, genuine connection. The math is undeniable. Dating energy during transactional phase, high effort, minimal return, emotional depletion, no lasting assets built. Self-investment energy, compounds daily, builds lasting assets, creates genuine confidence, produces measurable results. And here's the beautiful irony. The moment you genuinely stop needing external validation, you become genuinely attractive to quality people. Not because you're playing games, because you've built something real. Maya Angelou said it perfectly. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. The same applies to personal development. The more you invest in yourself, the more capacity you build for everything else. Here's what changes when you choose strategic solitude. Your baseline becomes peace, not chaos. Most people's baseline is low-level anxiety. Anxiety from managing relationship dynamics. Anxiety from seeking validation. Anxiety from wondering if you're enough. During strategic pause, your baseline becomes calm focus. You wake up to your own agenda, not someone else's expectations. Your morning routine is yours. Your priorities are yours. Your energy is yours to direct. You end the day having built something, not having managed drama. You can measure your progress in skills learned, projects completed, workouts finished, pages written, not in texts analyzed or dating app matches managed. Your decisions are yours. Want to buy that motorcycle? Buy it. Want to invest aggressively? Do it. Want to travel solo for a month? Book it. Want to pivot your career? Execute it. No negotiations. No compromises you don't want to make. No explaining yourself. And here's what most people don't realize until they experience it. That peace is the foundation for everything else. You can't build anything lasting from chaos. Chaos creates reactive decisions. Chaos drains the energy you need for building. Chaos keeps you in survival mode instead of creation mode. Strategic pause creates the stable ground to build from. Look, connection is beautiful when it's real, but real connection only happens between two people who've already built themselves. The strategic pause isn't forever. It's until you've built something so solid that you only invite people who genuinely add to it, not disrupt it. Your move this week. Calculate your current emotional and time energy spent on dating. Now imagine that same energy invested in one major goal for 90 days. What would change? Drop a comment. If you redirected your dating energy for 90 days, what would you build? Because the people who master their own lives don't need someone to complete them. They choose to share with someone who's equally whole. And that's not loneliness, that's strategy. Now go build.